Good morning. This is Kenneth and Heather with the Advancing Equity Coalition, here to give you a quick update on what was a very short meeting last night. But Heather, how are you doing this morning?
Good, I'm thinking, okay, if it was a short meeting, hopefully we can make a short recap video.
It hasn't always correlated, but let's see if we can do that. So I'll just hand it over to you. Give us the rundown.
Yeah, so last night the school board saw kind of their final presentation of the strategic plan that they'll be voting on at the next board meeting. It was their last opportunity to ask about conditions and strategies and to really sort of make sure there were no final tweaks that they wanted to make. We also heard a very quick update from Superintendent Graff about online learning and COVID and how difficult those decisions were, and then really it was just a very quick meeting, about an hour.
Yeah, usually committee of the whole meetings, they schedule for 2 hours and they're rushing to get through all the information. Yesterday it was easy breezy, and hour in and out, done.
Yeah.
Um, so Heather, do you want to talk about any of the like central themes that came up during the meeting?
I think what we really heard was one thing that I heard for a theme was that there was a real talk about conditions. One of the things that you and I have talked about repeatedly is like we have to identify the problem in order to be able to name what we're going to do for solutions. And we really heard a lot of conversation around like these are the conditions we feel like the district will need in order to be able to make this work. We also heard a lot about accountability. We heard about, the community and the district asking for board support if conditions and accountability aren't there. And then I would say the other thing that we heard was, a lot of like collaboration and compromise amongst the board. One board member even said, like, we all know that we each didn't get the thing we wanted to get out of this plan. Some people added things, some people took things away, but overall, it sounds to me like this board's going to vote for this strategic plan.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it was a very like easy conversation. There was no tension, which has been a shift from previous board meetings recently. And I also anticipate that the board will unanimously support this strategic plan. Maybe one vote might not, but we'll see. Last night, directors Polly and Jordan were not at the meeting, and so they didn't get a chance to ask questions. So maybe they might bring some more things forward when the vote comes up on February 8th. But it looks like everyone should just expect a new strategic plan at the next school board meeting. So that's exciting. That's terrifying. It is what it is. I don't know. We'll see. But looking ahead, last night's board meeting was really flat. They've seen this presentation about 4 times now.
Yeah.
And so it didn't feel like the board had a lot of energy or questions around it. And so there wasn't really an opportunity to have a do better moment and a most valuable moment. And so instead, we're going to do our do better part of the strategic plan and our most valuable part of the strategic plan. And so with that, Heather, do you want to go ahead and share your do better part of the strategic plan?
Yeah, my do better part really kind of nods toward Director Cerrillo and her question about like how will people know that this is our strategic plan. I mean, one comment that Superintendent Graff made was that when he came into the district, only 40% of our teachers knew that there was a strategic plan in place, a last plan. And so clearly, we have a communication problem. And so I really do think my encouragement to the board and to the district would be, not to think so much about marketing a plan or communicating a plan, but into like really collaborating with their staff and with parents and families in making sure that we are engaged in the understanding of the strategic plan, because there is a really big difference between receiving 10 robocalls about a plan and recognizing and understanding as a parent and as a teacher or whatever in this district that there's a thing that we're all trying to do together. And I think that's been one of the district's biggest um, failures or biggest challenges is really, quality communication.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say it's an opportunity for growth for the districts. And yeah, I think it's really difficult to try to figure out how do we create appropriate buy-in across the districts if the plan's not communicated well? So my do better moment is pretty simple, or my do better part is pretty simple. It's something that I've said before, I'll continue to say. I think it's really frustrating that there is no mention of special education, English language learning services, or homeless and highly mobile students in any of the strategies for the strategic plan. I think it's a huge missed opportunity as well, especially when we're talking about trying to increase the academic outcomes for students of color. And we know that disproportionately students of color utilize special education services, utilize English language learner services, are homeless and are experiencing homelessness or are highly mobile. And so um, there's just an opportunity to target those populations and to target those services and really improving those educational experiences for students. And I just think that if we would have spent energy and time in building those strategies out, we could probably actually push, some of the outcomes that we've laid out even further than we have at this point. And so that's my do better part. And I think we can't just talk about special education when it's time to ask the state for money. Like, we have to talk about what we are doing around special education.
That's
Same
right.
with English language learner services. Same with homeless and highly mobile students. We might not have all the resources that we need, and that's a part of it, but that can't be the only time we care about it. And I
Mm.
feel like the board did not ask any questions about this for the last 6 months that they've been working on this plan. And I think that's really disappointing.
And I think if for parents of children receiving special education services, the only time you hear about the needs of your child is when we say that there's not enough money and we need more funding, but you never get to see the plan for your children being part of the plan for the district. That, to me, I would feel really invisible, and I would feel marginalized and isolated. And so, um, yeah, I think that's a very valid concern. You know, for them, I just want to say one of the things that I'm really excited about with this plan, for my most valuable moment for this plan. So I saw real clear metrics. I saw the district name some things that they need to do, and I saw ways that we as a community can hold the district and the staff accountable, and the board can support them, right? So the board can say, oh, I see we're not meeting this condition. So to me, I see this strategic plan as a real opportunity to level up our ability to have a conversation about accountability in our district and as a community. And so for me, I get very excited about the metrics and very excited about naming the conditions. And I'm hoping that that leads us to different conversations.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I still struggle a little bit with where we came to metrics in our strategic plan for the district, and recognize that if the district meets where they want to be in 5 years,
That's
it would
right.
be a massive improvement.
That's right.
I think we could push further if we did focus on, special education, homeless, high and mobile, English language learners. If we aligned more of the energy and resources towards pushing that goal further, but where we are right now, I can acknowledge that it is an improvement. That's where I will sit. I can acknowledge that it is an improvement from where we are today. So yeah.
They've named problems that they've not named before, and that creates a great opportunity for accountability.
Okay.
And clearly we hold tension around this.
So I'll say for my do better moment, and I know y'all missed my slide of the night. Don't worry, you're gonna get it. My most valuable part of the strategic plan are the goals and the strategies really around effective staff. I think this is a really awesome opportunity to, intentionally think about how we're putting staff, our highest quality staff, our most effective staff, in front of our students who need them the most. I think it's a real investment in trying to figure out how do we increase the recruitment and retention of teachers of color, which is such an important priority for us right now, especially as we're looking at contract negotiations and trying to figure out how do we create protections for teachers of color.
That's
I
right.
think this here demonstrates a real effort by the district to align everything that they can to making sure that we get more teachers of color in our district and stay in our district. Um, and so I really think that this is an excellent demonstration of those values around valuing teachers of color in policy. And so now it's just about like, can we execute? Can we get those protections for teachers of color? Um, and also, can we make sure that we have effective staff in front of all of our students across Minneapolis public schools, but especially in front of our students of color and Indigenous students? So that is
Speaking
my
of,
most
yeah,
valuable part.
speaking of effective staff, we are so excited and grateful for the opportunity to be hosting a conversation with Nafisa Muhammad, an amazing Henry High School teacher in our district. And we just want to hear her thoughts and her experiences about, the last 2 years being a teacher of color in this district, being a teacher of color in a racially isolated school, being a parent educator through this whole pandemic. And so I'm just so excited to share this opportunity from folks to hear from one of the great leaders in our school district.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an awesome opportunity to, and an important time to hear from a teacher of color.
That's
Um,
right.
and so I know we're really excited. I hope you all tune in. I think it's going to be an awesome conversation to talk about all the things that Heather just mentioned and so much more. So yeah, let's do it. Let's get it together and let's follow women of color. I don't know. That seems like a a good step in the right direction for us as a society, us as a country, us as a district. So with that, I think that ends our maybe not a short recap as we wanted, but thanks for listening.
Bye.